So we are now going to the beach. Let's go check it out.
Polish creativity is a must. Born and raised behind the Iron Curtain, bro.
The art of resilience. Creativity as survival. Creativity was never an afterthought in Poland. It was never a Sunday afternoon hobby. It was, and frequently still is, the silent talent that keeps life going when everything else seems to be working against it. Poles had to live with empty store shelves and hollow official promises for generations. When something broke, you didn't throw it away like you do now. Instead, you used wire, tape, and a little creativity to bring it back to life. Dresses turned into rags, curtains into dresses, and rags back into insulation for a chilly attic. This cycle had an air of quiet pride. We even have a verb for that obstinate inventiveness, kombinować, which means to never give up and to find a way, no matter how improbable. The nation's character was permanently altered by the constant need to improvise and make do. Entire generations learned to see possibilities where others didn't. They discovered how to visualize a broken teapot as a flower pot. They could envision a bookshelf made out of a heap of scrap wood. Here, creativity was never abstract and was never restricted to intellectuals or galleries. It flourished in stairwells, garages, and kitchens, in hushed formulas for homemade perfume, vodka, or paint. This practice of handling difficulties gracefully evolved into something more than just a survival strategy at some point. It developed a subdued beauty. Over time, the art of making do evolved into the art of creating something better.
There is all we got, from empty shelves to home scouts.
All right, so we are now in front of this church where it's we're still there. I forgot the name of the town. I'm gonna show you what's the name of this church. The name of this church is called Słowo Boże. It looks freaking fantastic.
PRL, the mother of invention. In a peculiar way, the communist era was a creative masterclass. The People's Republic of Poland was a land of ration cards, lines, and 1,000 minor shortages. But because it had to, it was also a place where inventiveness thrived. A father might construct a toy out of wood scraps in the shed if his child requested one. An aunt would sew a wedding dress by hand out of a repurposed curtain if one could not be found. Furniture was sanded and repainted until it outlasted the regime itself. Cars were kept alive for decades past their design, and radios were fixed with parts smuggled from the West. This necessity had a sense of humor. People joked about exchanging a pair of jeans for half a year's worth of favors and about waiting in line for hours without knowing what was being sold. Humans created things to make life more bearable and even beautiful, in addition to surviving. In this nation, style, brash, unexpected, and a little rebellious, was born out of scarcity. The Polish school of poster art flourished during these years. State propaganda was transformed by artists into cunning, subversive works of art that are still displayed in galleries worldwide. Cabarets also flourished, using witty humor to make fun of the system and cleverly arranging their words so that the censors allowed them to pass. Voices like Ewa Demarczyk or Jacek Kaczmarski sang of history, love, and rebellion in a way that spoke to the heart, even when the meaning was obscured, making poetic song yet another heaven. Directors like Andrzej Wajda, Krzysztof Kieślowski, they were being shaped by the Polish school of film at the same time, using cinema as a language of metaphor and subdued defiance. When combined, these artistic mediums produced a parallel Poland that was more fluid than the one depicted on the official posters. For those who understood, creativity became a wink, a code. It stated that although life was difficult, it was still possible to create something remarkable out of it. Design with a soul. This lengthy improvisational apprenticeship produced a distinctly Polish design. It has memory, wit, and weight. By combining vivid colors with sardonic commentary, the Polish school of poster art transformed movie and theater posters into objects of desire. They still hang in design museums today because they spoke the truth while using metaphor, not because they sold tickets. Bolesławiec ceramics, with their deep circles and dots of cobalt, became a silent symbol of continuity. A single hand-painted mug on the shelf could give a bare kitchen a sense of completion. The furniture of the mid-century was clever, simple, and sleek. It was designed to last, and it did, in spite of everything. As if to demonstrate that beauty never goes out of style, collectors are now searching for those pieces and polishing them back to life. Polish design has a distinctly soulful quality. It never makes an effort. It doesn't yell. As though whispering, it stands silently, shrewdly, and stoutly, with a hint of irony. I was born out of need, but I stayed for the fun. Urban poetry, creativity in the streets. The walls that once carried only soot now blaze with colors if you walk through Łódź, Warsaw, or Wrocław. Entire tenements are covered in enormous murals that transform drab neighborhoods into outdoor art galleries. Some honor poets and rebels, some tell tales of forgotten workers, and some are just there to lighten the morning commute. Repurposed factories have been transformed into cafes with espresso machines humming beneath steel beams that were previously blackened by coal smoke. Market halls have evolved into light-filled, plant-filled co-working spaces, bookstores, and concert halls. Cities in Poland have mastered the art of making ruin sing. There is poetry in this renewal. It seems as though everything is merely waiting for a second chance at life and is never really lost. Cities are currently being shaped by the same spirit that brought Warsaw back to life, creating spaces that are both practical and meaningful. These areas serve as a silent protest against ugly things, demonstrating that beauty itself can be a civic responsibility. Innovation today. Polish creativity has evolved in the modern era. It is now motivated by ambition rather than scarcity. The same creativity that once fixed radios is now used to create video games that are played by millions of people worldwide. Polish engineers create satellites. Polish architects create homes that float above forests. And Polish fashion designers ship their collections to Paris and Milan. Quiet but self-assured is this new wave. Since it is aware of its value, it does not need to yell. The same energy that once rebuilt cities is now used to create technologies, music festivals, and businesses. That same obstinate poetry, the desire to create beauty even when no one asked for it, is still at the heart of it. When one observes Polish creativity, one sees survival transformed into style and resiliency turned into ritual. These days, making do is less important than creating something meaningful and long-lasting. Perhaps the most unexpected thing for a visitor is that a nation with such a heavy past can feel so light on its feet, that it has the ability to transform suffering into dreams, music, tables, and murals, that it has the power to transform life into art.
Polish creativity is a must. Born and raised behind the Iron Curtain brown. The Poles didn't have much choice. Slavic blood, sweat and tears froze gas. Survivors of Stuttgart to Auschwitz, to the frozen land of Siberia. Torn sweaters stitched to dye with the marking of Polska. Preservation, no time for waste. A stubborn nation, Polska is here to stay. Polska is here to stay. Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła, Polska nie zginęła. Each other is all we got. From empty shelves and stalls to long lines at the stores. Hard times, starving in poverty. Polish heart we burn, never riches found within.